welcome to Trashy Treasure, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erica, and I am your host.
My name is Cassandra, and I am your other host.
The pausing builds up anticipation.
I liked it, and so I took it. I took it, and I did it too.
You got to mimic. You know, you got to mimic.
The highest form of flattery, they say. Imitation.
I think it's baby, like what we do, like baby's mirror, and like in all of wildness, like the animal kingdom, humankind, like what we do, babies are like, oh, this is how we do it. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like social conditioning in a way too.
Mm-hmm.
We also yawn because we have empathy. So if I see you yawn and then suddenly I have the urge to yawn,
I'm yawning now, just
God
talking
damn it.
about it. Wow. Listeners, let us know if you yawned.
And that's how you can probably spot somebody without empathy, like a psycho or sociopath, because they're not going to yawn when you yawn. So anytime you walk into a room, make contact with every person and make sure you see who's yawning and who's not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just a safety tip. You're welcome.
All right.
I was speaking to a youth this week.
Uh-huh.
One of the youths. And they're starting a band. They're in a band. Cool. They're doing the rehearsals, but they're looking for names. And Cass, didn't you know I had to throw out some ideas. Had to throw out some.
Couldn't help yourself.
Couldn't help myself. I was like, oh, was I asked? No. Am I going to do it? Of course.
Yes.
And as I was speaking, I was like, I am ancient. And I just saw like the life, the youth and the life being sucked out of this soul, having to listen to me be like, whoa, this is kind of neat.
It's crazy when those moments happen where you're saying words, especially to a youth, and you know that you need to stop.
Yes.
But you, like, the train left the station.
It's gone.
You know, if I had an inkling that boomers had any self-awareness, I would say maybe that this is how they feel. But I think that their complete lack of self-awareness has given our generation too much self-awareness where we still like do it, but we like know. We're like, why are you still speaking? How are you going to land this where you don't look like a complete dick?
Speaking of boomers, we got some fan mail from some boomers this week.
Oh yeah?
Well, ish. My favorite person is the older boomer, mostly white grandma who uses their actual name and photo. And it's normally a super filtered photo of them where they look like they have like the mouse ears on with the button nose.
Of course.
Or photos of their grandchildren. Another big one I think is having something like Jesus loves me in like a font across the bottom. And then they'll say just vile vitriol stuff to people.
Yes. Absolutely.
I do admire, though, that they're like, I'm not going to hide behind some anonymity or fake name. You're going to know where my grandchildren go to school.
I want people to see my full face when I comment that Lizzo is a fat cow.
So we have a beautiful troll.
I don't feel that way, just by the way.
No.
I'm just saying I've seen
that's what
boomers do that. And then you go to their page and you go, really?
So we got some trolls on the old pot on the Instagram and things like that. So one comment, and this was, it sparked, I guess, from a video I made in May that had, probably less than 100 views. Lady comes out here and says, Jesus, Chewbacca here has an issue with dogs inside places and seems to have a general issue with dogs. Clearly because she wants to consume them. You are getting dragged on Reddit, BTW, Chewy. Obsessed with that. Like, do you think I have nice hair and I'm tall? Like, why are you calling me Chewbacca?
Yeah. Do you think that my best friend is very handsome?
And debonair and can shoot from the hip and has their own spaceship? I love. That led to more comments, which on the trash, that was my personal Instagram. Then on the trashy Instagram, we got don't support this in quotations podcast. It's run by two cat ladies who take out their hunger and aggression out on dogs. Real winners, these two. That like quiggly smiley face.
Uh-huh.
And she just, again, putting her whole ass out there. I love it. It's her face.
Did you Google her?
I didn't want to give the time.
That's fair. Well, I'm sorry you got that hate. And I'm sorry to anyone who listens who we must have really upset and given the impression that we are cat people who eat dogs.
It's the eating of the dog.
Yeah. I can definitely see like maybe some comments that we made that might make people go, even though I have a dog, but make people go, man, they're really cat people. But I don't remember saying anything. It doesn't matter. We can't focus on it. You know what? This is already too much air for this person.
I just want to say thank you for the engagement.
It's true. It's very important though that like, if you leave a negative comment or anything, we do see you and we are human beings who get stomach aches for a little while afterwards, before being able to shake it off and find it a little funny and pity you. Erica, why are you trash?
Okay, so I was thinking about sticking on the eating theme, right?
Okay.
Growing up, I took etiquette lessons. I did cotillion practice. I didn't
do
this.
It shows.
Well, listen.
I'd like to know who that teacher is so that I could shake their hand someday and let them know how good they did with you.
So maybe I'm not the model for debutantes. My décolletage isn't right. But
Erica can't conduct herself at a party, but boy, can she set a table.
I know what goddamn fork to use, that's for sure. But one time, okay, so I was at a nice restaurant in Silver Lake with an old friend, colleague, and we ordered pasta, as it was an Italian restaurant.
Alimento?
That's where I was.
Pretty nice.
Great restaurant.
Okay, Lovely. Money bags. What's going on?
This was last year when I had money.
Okay. I still laugh when I think about what we were talking about last week. When we have jobs, we'll do this. Oh man. Okay, carry on.
So again, nice, fancy Italian restaurant. Seeing an old friend, someone I used to work with, very much enjoy their company. And it was a tasting menu, so it was like a 3-course, appetizer, this, dessert. Great. They bring out my pasta, and they didn't bring me a fork.
Okay.
So I ate it with a spoon.
Erica.
Trying to make the spoon like a fork just because I didn't want to cause a stink. I know how hard it is being a waiter and a waitress. I didn't want to cause a big thing. And my friend was like, after like half the meal, they were like, are you eating your pasta with a spoon because they didn't bring you a fork? Yes.
This is a table of people that are too polite.
Yeah.
You were too polite to ask, and then your friend was too polite to be like, what the hell is she doing?
Oh, they called the waiter over. They were like, excuse me, can she get a fork?
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, I already hate it. It was the moment where, you're early, then you sit down, and then you're like, they're coming. My friend's coming. I was like, I can't deal with being an issue. Anyway, I ate my fancy pasta with the spoon because I was trashy. Anyway. Sorry to my etiquette teacher. Cass, why are you trash?
It's getting pretty country over here at my house. I've talked about it before on the podcast. I've thrown it out, as a matter of fact, of throwing nuts and food debris to local wildlife. It's illegal in Los Angeles to do that. And I thought my neighbors stopped, and maybe they have. I don't know. But it's been getting quite country here because we've had a real big squirrel on the balcony problem.
Yeah.
They're coming up here. They're eating whatever, nuts, tree debris, I don't know. And they leave it everywhere. And I got a nice patio. I mean, there's definitely like of the comparing patios that they could choose, like I definitely like, we have one neighbor who has more of like a gardeny kind of Edendale feeling patio, a rainforest cafe, if you will. That's funny if you know what Edendale is in Silver Lake, because it is nothing like a Rainforest Cafe. And a lot of big Silver Lake restaurant episodes so far. And then, we have another neighbor who's like, I guess the best way to describe their balcony would be like the energy of like a tiki bar or a divey sports bar. But we have like a nice bistro, like the kind of place you want to have lunch energy outside. And so I see why the squirrels are choosing, but we don't like it. So
you're saying the squirrels are classist?
No, I'm saying that the squirrels are making the right, like they probably have dinner down at Rainforest and then close out the night at the tiki bar. But this is where this is lunch. This is where they show up in their yoga pants and they have lunch. So we catch them during the day. And so like at various times during the day in my house, I'll move away from the mic, but you'll just hear like, get out! And it's from one of us just scream like, get out of here, get out, because it drives the dog crazy. It's driving us crazy, the trash everywhere. Mm-hmm. So it's gotten to a point now where, we're like taking buckets of water and like covering we're making it wet outside. We're not like directly aiming for the squirrels with buckets of water because that feels a little gnarly. But
like the water cannons, they point at climate protesters.
Yeah. But we're definitely like, they're in the splash zone, know? It's like, I'm going to throw the knife and it's going to land right next to you to prove that if I wanted to, I could hit you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, and they'll scamper off or whatever, and then they'll just come back because these are LA squirrels and they don't care.
I like to think about the 4 squirrels having lunch, like the Sex and the City characters sitting there. One squirrel's like, I'm a Samantha.
Oh, don't even get me started on nuts. Yeah. He's a real piece of tail. So now we're like looking online, and the moments before we started recording, Taylor was out sprinkling cayenne pepper and coffee grounds around, which arguably makes more mess than their nuts, but he's spraying it all around. Yeah. He said, we could get peppermint oil, but then it's going to smell like peppermint outside. I can't believe that he thinks that's worse than putting coffee grounds and cayenne pepper all over the premises. But that's what we've been doing. It just feels silly. It feels very country. Mm-hmm. It feels really trashy.
It feels like the squirrels are kind of squatting for free.
That's a great segue to our first story.
This is from therealdeal.com. A Brentwood Airbnb tenant refuses to leave or pay for 540-day stay.
So a legal conundrum could allow a short-term occupant to stay in this Airbnb rent-free forever.
So the Dutch native and dentist, a doctor who practices in Santa Monica, rented out his accessory dwelling unit via a home sharing platform, Airbnb, to a woman. This woman, he was illegally subletting, though. He wasn't allowed to do that, essentially.
He didn't have the permits.
Didn't have the permits to do it. Brentwood's a permit-heavy area, adjacent to Santa Monica. So she paid for $20,000 worth of this stay. She was supposed to stay for so many days. She paid that. And then
for a month, right?
For a month. And then when it came time to be like, knock, knock, she didn't leave. And she's saying, I have the legal right to stay. There's no reason to evict her.
So it's September 2021, and she pays for 6 months. And that's where that $20,000, it's to be precise, it's $20,793, which is for 187 nights. But while she was there, she was like, yo, there's some I think you must not have built this shower or anything with a permit, because there's some water damage and mold that is already here that I didn't cause. And so this dentist was like, okay, well, I'll pay for you to stay in a hotel, or you can stay in my house while we fix it. And she's like, I'm not going to do that. It's September 2021. I'm not trying to catch COVID from you. And like, I'll just stay here. So then he was like, they basically agreed, okay, because September to March would be 6 months. So he was like, okay, well, you can stay until April, until you can find somewhere else to go, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that was April 2022 that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in 2023 now.
Yeah.
Big time in 2023.
She extended the lease again to April 12th to where she could find a place, etc. But extending the lease beyond that, the original move-out date, was a major error on the renter-outer, the doctor's part, according to the Times. It allowed Airbnb to turn its back on the dispute. So basically, he went off platform and Airbnb said, it's no longer a part of our hands.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, like if it was all still on Airbnb's site, they could have taken action to get her out. But he claims, I was just trying to be a nice guy.
Of course,
and
nice guys. So
yeah, the last day she paid rent was 540 days ago, and he's sent her a lot of eviction notices. She don't care, and like
she says, pay me $100,000 to move out.
Yeah, she's like, I'll move out for money.
Cash and for keys.
What's crazy is that because he didn't have the permits or like anything for any of this, there's like rent control laws that basically this judge has ruled like this guy has no legal reason to evict her. Mm-hmm. So like not even the law can help him right now. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do if I was in this situation. I mean, honestly, might be the path of least resistance to pay her $100,000. But then, but like, it has to be one of those things of like cash changes hands, movers come in, or like maybe you change the locks on her if she ever leaves.
If he changes the locks, like he can get in big trouble for that.
For real?
Yeah, you can't, like LA's rent control ordinances gave her a lot of tenant protections, but the LA City Building and Safety Department, as a landlord, you cannot just change the locks. You'll get a huge fine. Or arrested.
So
if you're trying to evict someone, you can't just change the locks if they go to the grocery store. He doesn't have permission to enter unless she says so because she's a tenant.
Why does anyone pay rent?
We should all stop. I've spoken about my LA mommies dabbling. I don't know if I'm still in the group because I haven't got any notices, but I probably muted it. But hell, a lot of landlords in the LA mommies group, and they hate a tenant. Do they hate a tenant?
It's like no one forced you to do this.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to be a landlord, but
you don't have to make money this way.
Yeah.
Speaking of making money, that's not a good segue for this, but according to USAtoday.com, this is a story sent in by none other than Tina Curry. There is some flooding occurring last week in New York City that's pretty wild, and guess who got to escape because of this flooding?
When I first read this, I wasn't paying super attention because I kind of skim a lot of times, and I thought it was a lion, not a sea lion. And I was just ecstatic thinking about a lion roaming the streets of New York City. It was a sea lion, though, so the flooding allowed it to float along. This feels like the plot, though, of like a book I would have read when I was a little kid. Like, Curious George releases the sea lion and has to help get him back into it.
It's almost like the other side of like the Noah's Ark story of like, okay, so there was a flood to clean out all the sinners, but like for a while there was just like some sea lions just like chilling, being like, what do you think? Should we get coffee and then hit Nordy's or what?
They're not on the boat, but they're floating next to the boat, and they're like, only we will survive. That's everyone on the boat. And the sea lions are like, we're over here. We're fine.
How did Noah do that, by the way?
We simply can't get into the math of it all. or the inbreeding that would happen after. We just simply, again, and Noah's sons, we simply cannot get into all the biblical logistics. That's going to be the title of my book, Biblical Logistics, and it's just me asking questions.
Just every chapter ends to, we simply can't get into it. You know, speaking of, we simply can't do something.
Yes. You simply can't fake a bear attack.
From wowktv.com, an Ohio man is charged for reporting a fake bear attack to get out of the Kanawha County woods.
An Ohio man? Ohio man is the Florida of the Midwest, though. Let's be honest about that. Ohio
certainly seems like it.
He's being charged with falsely reporting an incident after claiming he'd been attacked by a bear, allegedly in order to get help getting out of the An Ohio man is being charged for falsely reporting an incident after claiming he'd been attacked by a bear, allegedly in order to get help getting out of the woods in Kanawha County.
So basically what happened is this guy was on a hike. He got lost in the woods, but I guess maybe he thought, well, they're not going to just come get me if I say I'm lost. I have to give them a reason. So he faked a bear attack.
He calls and he says, "Please help me. I'm being attacked by a bear. My phone is dying. I've been walking for days and bears are circling me. I'm going to die." Now, I see all the time Forest Services rescuing people, sending in helicopters, or just sending in folks. Like, and what do? Just like rip your shirt? Be like, I dodged him.
Yeah, I made myself huge.
I rang a bell.
It is
what you're supposed to do with bears.
So when he was on the phone with dispatchers, he kept saying the bears are stalking him, and then he started screaming. He said that he had a head injury and was bleeding. I mean, honestly, like, it seems like this lie kind of got away from him too, because he was probably like, oh my God, why do I keep talking? Like, now I have to bash my own head with a fucking rock too.
It feels like he just kind of yes-anded himself, where he's like, you gotta make it believable. Come on. and
like, what do you mean you survived a bear attack? Do you think that, like, do people survive bear attacks like solo? I don't know.
Did we see The Revenant together?
We did see The Revenant together. That was crazy. That was also like one of the that started a trend of, when I see movies in theaters, I do not watch trailers beforehand if I can help it, because I went into The Revenant not knowing what it was about or anything, and boy, what a thrill ride it was. Even though I'm still embarrassed I leaned over to you, I said, "God, the cinematography is really good." And you were like, "Yeah, dog, I don't know his name now, but he's the guy who did Birdman and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, well,
the opening is one,
then of course it's good
shot. It's so stunning. This is the movie where Leonardo DiCaprio fights a bear.
Yeah. And the one that he finally got his Oscar, and he just needed to fight a bear.
And Tom Hardy has a weird accent. I mean, that's a very specific claim.
I feel like that was another movie that I was like, to you, who is that guy? Tom Hardy. And I said, man, he really can do it all. You know, I didn't realize what a chameleon because he had just done Batman. So he was just Bane. Like, he in Mad Max, he is just someone different in every movie.
He loves to grunt. He loves to grunt and completely change his voice.
I'm here for it, and I live. But you know what else I'm here for?
What?
Having a pig.
Okay, we cannot let Taylor and Winston find out about this next story, okay? Because this will shoot our pig chances in the foot.
Yeah. From themessenger.com, a Texas mom says that a 300-pound pig keeps attacking family and that they shouldn't have to live like this.
Okay, so do you remember 30 to 50 feral hogs on Twitter?
Yes.
This is making a strong argument that we laughed at that man too soon. A very large pig has been coming back to the same house after escaping from an enclosure. Now, I grew up showing pigs, and a 300 pig is very big and can barrel you over and flip your legs out from underneath you. That's a big hog. Don't think this is some cute little Wilbur. This is big.
So they said that it's black and white. She estimates that it weighs about 300 pounds, and she claims to see it foaming at the mouth, which, I mean, if you've been attacked by anything multiple times, I think you're allowed to make that claim. But this shouldn't be funny. But the 911 call kind of makes me laugh. It's a child says to 911, "My grandma is being attacked by a random pig. Oh, now my grandpa's being attacked." It's just like,
now I'm
very
not calling this
funny.
kid a liar.
No, of course not.
A random pig implies that there are pigs that are known to the family. This is a string. Like, this is.
They're Gen Alpha. That's everything is just like, oh my God, some random pig. Some random big ass pig is attacking my grandparents in front of my eyes. I am in the throes of drama. Please help.
The lady says that her family's having to defend themselves with knives. If you can, click on the link and watch the news report because it gives an interview with the woman. I'm just saying, I know how scary animal attacks can be because I once was chased by a goose as a child.
Sure.
And again, the trauma that has left me with. No, but like, it's just think about these people like walking to their cars with knives, like sticking their head out the door and just looking both ways.
I mean, I have squirrels on my balcony, you know, so what do you want? The woman who's on the news has the hairstyle I like to call the Steven Seagal.
100%. And will you explain what that is to the dear listeners, to the baby trash cans?
Well, let me see if I can make a little bit more sense. If you've seen the movie with Charlize Theron, Monster, for like the Eileen Wuornos look, but otherwise the Steven Seagal, it's just a kind of like a shoulder length bob, giving like it's just all combed back tight. Like,
not a mullet, but
it's not a mullet,
imitation
but it's like,
mullet.
It's like having a headband, but not, but you don't. You like your hair knows where to go without a headband putting it there.
It's been combed back and gelled enough that it just knows to go that way. It's got DNA memory, genetic memory.
It's the Steven Seagal. What do you want me to say? I do have something to say. So you're probably looking at the podcast right now and you'll be like, what the hell? This has only been like, 20 minutes or so. Are we really about to go into We Cut That in the Dumpster Fire? And I'm going to say no. We're about to go into an ad. Erica, do you have any concerts coming up?
Always. I'm a festival girly, I have to get the VIP though because I cannot go without an air-conditioned bathroom.
Okay, well, my sweet angel, planning for faster and efficient hydration is also essential for festivals. And Liquid IV has you covered while you prep before, power through that headliner, and recover after the weekend.
Hey, now don't count yourself out while you're drunk poolside all summer, Cass. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water and with 3 times the electrolytes than traditional sports drinks.
I mean, we really have no excuses. Liquid IV is actually standard in my purse. It goes phone, wallet, keys, Liquid IV.
And with flavors like lemon lime, pastique, that's French for watermelon, and my favorite, strawberry lemonade, staying hydrated is easy peasy.
Mama, I'm talking B3. I'm talking B5. I'm talking B6. And I'm screaming from the rooftops, B12.
They've got all the Bs.
And there's a little bit of vitamin C in there too, just for kicks.
Oh, she's made from premium ingredients and is free from gluten, dairy, and soy.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I'm vegan now. I don't know if I've talked about that yet.
We know. Okay. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code TRASHY at checkout.
That's 20% off of anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code TRASHY at liquidiv.com.
Honestly, we're so trashy, we're hydrated.
Wet trash. Okay, now we're back. And yeah, we are about to go into We Cut That because we have a really detailed dumpster fire. So I'm sorry to rush you, but we gotta cut that stuff now.
This comes to us from X, from Betty Bowers, user. She's one of my favorite parody accounts. So she states, Has anyone been following what's happening with Sarah Huckabee Sanders? And I hope the answer is no. I hope we all just ignore her forever. But it's said that right now there's allegations that she spent $20,000 of public money to fly a friend to France, faked receipts, and then said that the $20,000 was spent on a podium. Then the Arkansas public demanded to see it. And so she bought a $700 one on Amazon. And the photo, she looks like she's going to the Country Jamboree in 2011. Like, I think I had this outfit.
Yeah, no, I mean, the outfit she's wearing is definitely, I mean, she's got like knee-high tan boots, the wet seal ones that I was talking about a couple weeks ago. Like, those are the boots she has with, like kind of a frilly
prairie dress that's like above the knee. And I'm sorry, I don't want to police what women wear.
No.
But when you hold a public office, I almost never want to see your fucking knees. Like, your skirt should come to the knee or cover it. And that's me. That's my boomer politics. I'm sorry. Public office, I don't need to see you ever. I don't want to see a hint of thigh. That's me.
She looks like she's about to go wine tasting with a couple of her girlfriends.
Probably the one she flew to Paris.
Yeah, I also didn't realize that she was the governor of Arkansas. I always knew her to be like Trump's White House secretary, and it sounds like Arkansas just were like, yeah, we'll take her after that job ended, which y'all, that's on you. So anyways, we cut that.
Just Google it.
From fox5sandiego.com, a 13-foot-long python survives 5 months eating cats in an Oklahoma trailer park.
This is just my origin story.
Can you imagine if your spirit animal came out that it was a 13-foot-long python?
You know, I do feel akin to this story. As a dog eater. No, I'm sorry. Cut that.
Anyways, we had to cut that.
We just simply don't have time. From clickorlando.com, woman sues Disney after a painful wedgie at Typhoon Lagoon Water Park. Now, y'all, it is not a wedgie, okay? She had water violently shoved into her body. It damaged her internal organs and gave her a hernia, severe lacerations, and she's suing Disney. Disney's running a smear campaign against her. And she's only seeking $50,000 in damages for medical treatment.
And what ride?
A water park ride.
Oh,
it's like one of those really intense water slide rides. Anyway.
Gotta clench your ass if you're gonna go down this water slide. Take that, title. We cut that. From thedailyvoice.com, a DoorDash driver on a Dunkin' Donuts run in Essex County crashed into a body of water because their GPS gave them bad directions. You guys, at this point, if you're still using Apple Maps, it's not an excuse to crash into bodies of water anymore.
Let me just tell you, no. Apple Maps, superior to Google Maps at this point.
No.
100%. Every time I've been given the runaround and I go to the backside of an apartment or the wrong address, it's with Google Maps. I copy that same address into Apple Maps. I'm right there.
Wow, how the mighty have fallen.
They stepped their pussy up, okay? Because Apple Maps used to suck. Absolutely. But Google has let it slip.
Bye.
Yeah. Speaking of, just driving, going to the wrong place, another story, Florida woman from TampaBay.com. Florida woman pulls gator from her yoga pants during traffic stop. That's just her ID. It's just like, oh, I thought it was they said, I have an alligator wallet. It's just what I keep my ID in.
Man, I don't have a better joke than that, but I do have another ad.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Max.
Are you a fan of sitting? What about looking? Maybe even, dare I say, observing?
Then do we have a podcast for you? Welcome to TV Pilot's License, where we talk about the most famous and infamous pilot TV episodes of all time.
Each episode, we go in depth on what made our favorite TV show so special or despised in our hearts.
We're covering everything from Girls to Golden Girls.
From the newsroom to news radio.
From Housewives to Desperate Housewives.
So come fly with TV Pilot's License every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back.
Erica, are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
We have a pretty super-sized dumpster fire right now. So if you're ready, then it's time for the dumpster fire of the week.
Oh my God.
We watched episodes 1 and 2 of ABC's newest season of the Bachelor franchise, The Golden Bachelor.
Goodbye to young 20-somethings, nannies, social media influencers, and account executives, all vying over the same dud of a man. Goodbye to young, testosterone-filled men vying over the same bachelor reject, getting her shot at love. Bring in Gary, a 7-year-old widower out to find love again. And every contestant in The Bachelor himself is over 60 years old.
Okay, now listeners, please beware that the following dumpster fire is going to contain some spoilers for the first 2 episodes. So if you want to watch that and then return to this, just please hurry up and do it because the anticipation is killing us. Mm-hmm. And fun drinking game idea, drink every time that Jerry says the word poised in episode 1.
Drink every time somebody says journey.
Oh, shit.
You'll be blackout drunk.
You're going to be too drunk to listen to this. Okay, so for me personally, I have only dabbled in the Bachelor franchise over the years. I'm sure I watched the first season, although I don't remember anything about it. I do remember the very first Bachelorette as a child when Krista chose Ryan, firefighter Ryan. I'll never forget that. Mm-hmm. And I picked it up again, I don't know, around 2017, in the Ari years, and I watched a few seasons. And then I think after Colton and Cassie, I needed to set it down. But Erica, you are a regular Bachelorette consumer. Am I correct?
So I actually came to the franchise, to Bachelor Nation, in 2016, 2017. I remember I watched the first episode of the original Bachelor back in the day, and then nothing. But the fine gentleman of the Bachelor Zone podcast invited me to be a guest. And I said, babies, I have not seen a word. So I did my homework. But their podcast is super fun. They cover the franchise like it's the NCAA tournament, like it's a football game. There's steal of the night, home, who gets points for whatnot. It's really funny and cute and kind of converted the Bachelor to sports so I can understand it, which is saying something because I'm not a sports galley. But I've watched it ever since. But I feel like starting in 2017 was kind of like watching Endgame as my first Marvel movie. But I missed a lot, but you kind of get the broad strokes of what's happening.
There's characters, I guess, that if you don't know them from other seasons, you might Ari, for example, the first Bachelor I watched in modern history was a reject from another season. That's typically how they get them. However, this is the Golden Bachelor. This is brand spanking new. ABC said we have to shake this up. Is their host a former Bachelor?
Yes,
or just some guy? Okay,
yes.
So
Jesse.
we're gonna
season
5. Take Jesse the Bachelor. He's gonna host it, and our Bachelor is going to be Gary, a 70-year-old widower. I mean, it opens on a young-looking Clint Eastwood, which is not to say that Gary looks young. It's to say that Clint Eastwood is so old that Gary somehow looks like a younger version of him. But he's getting ready in the mirror, and they have this shot of him putting his hearing aid in. So these producers are already just absolutely out for blood of this is not your normal season. These people need hearing aids.
So I just want to say we are not making fun of older people, any of the contestants. The format of The Bachelor is what we're making fun of. These women are absolutely stunning, beautiful members of family. Most of them are grandmothers. They're all amazing. Gary, if he doesn't find love on the show,
Gary's an angel.
I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring. Okay, we love them. This is a sincere love for this. It is the format of The Bachelor that leads to these tropes and silliness. So we just want to state again, we're not shitting on anybody, but the photo on the mantle.
Oh my God.
Dead wife. And then it shows a montage of their love story and how they met when they were high school sweethearts, and they have 4 daughters, one which looks like a clone of the mother, and she passed away 6 years ago, and I'm crying 3 minutes in. I am losing my mind with tears.
It was as if ABC tricked us into watching the movie Up.
Oh, absolutely. It was complete Pixar behavior, like tears. Everyone at home is in tears, right?
So we start to meet the women, and immediately what jumps out to me is the amount of like old people hand pats. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like when like you interact with an old person and they take your hands and then they kind of just like pat one of them, like I just like everyone was doing that. And it was, again, I haven't watched The Real Bachelor in a long time, but I feel super confident that they're not doing this. But just like so many old people hand pats, but there was an immediate standout. This woman's name was Leslie. Her claim is that she used to date Prince and that he wrote the song Sexy Dancer about her. And I don't know anybody who's going to be able to debunk that. So I guess you can just say anything, but she came out dressed as like a really, really old woman, like wig, walker, nightie. Yeah. And then Gary goes, "Do you need help?" And then she
what a sweetheart he is.
Yeah. And so she strips it all off into like a little short dress. And she goes, "Do I look like I need help?" And she just immediately is like giving like the type of woman that would like 100% sleep with her son's friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I really liked Teresa out of the limo. So she comes out in a black robe. Yes. She tells him it's her birthday. And so she decided to wear her birthday suit. And then she opens the robe, cuts to commercials.
Yeah. Gary's face. Yeah.
Yeah. Gary's face. Bazunga eyes. Cut to commercial. She kind of reminds me of like a Sally Field. She's very earnest and funny and playful. We come back and it turns out she has on like a kind of like an undersuit, you know, like a Spanx undersuit underneath it. And then she's like, and then she's wearing a gown for the rest of the evening. So she made a big impression for me. Her little bubble nose, I love her. I love Teresa.
So there was a woman,
Susan, I think.
Susan, who looked kind of like Liza Minnelli. And has like this kind of a smokery voice. And she comes out, does her quick little thing, and as she's walking away, she makes a comment. She says, "See my heels, Gary? I'm very comfortable with 6 inches." And I was gobsmacked because first of all, 6 inches, like, you know, aim higher, girl. But sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But my thought immediately was like, is she saying that she masturbates with these shoes?
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be crass, but she was the one who said it. You said, "See my heels? I'm comfortable with 6 inches." How is that not? How do you not think? There's no way I wasn't the only person watching.
No, of course.
She fucks herself with those heels. I'm sorry.
So just to go back, so the way the contestants are introduced is they're in waves of limos. So like 5 or 6 girls in a limo each, and then they come, or the gentleman, depending on the Bachelor, Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor, they pull up to the mansion, the Bachelor Mansion, which is an actual home in LA that these people rent out for this show.
Calabasas, I think.
Calabasas. The producers have hosed the driveway down, so it's slick and beautiful and shimmering. So all of the bottom of their dresses are soaked. I think that every time. And they, in between limos, they're hosing it down. You know, it's not just one time. It's a nighttime entrance. They're coming out one by one. So it's like we're introducing all the characters that we have, except for sometimes people do unique entrances where they're not coming in the limo, like Faith.
Yes.
Faith seems to have an early lead to me. So she comes in on a motorcycle. She says, "Live fast and not die young." She's a local radio host, which I'm like, I hope it's morning show. I hope she's just wacky Faith in the morning. And she's the girl in the group that just has to say, "You guys," you know.
I hope so too, because the other option is that she probably hosts some sort of batshit Republican radio.
You and all.
Yeah.
But they're all stunning. Every woman that's coming out is beautiful and unique, and they have interesting jobs. That's my favorite thing, is the fun the editors have with their job titles.
Yeah, I mean, everyone looked great. So, like, my impression that I was thinking was like, maybe Medicare isn't that bad. You know, everyone always complains about Medicare, but like all these women like qualify for it, and they seem to be doing awesome. So I'm just a little curious, like, if they should even be qualifying for Social Security.
Like, if you can fuck, no Social Security.
Yeah, if you could talk about how much sex you want to have on TV, no Social Security.
If you can vote, no Social Security.
Yes. Okay, but we can't. Okay, we can't get into this. Everyone knows that we hold these
R.I.P. Dianne Feinstein. So,
oops, whatever.
So okay, so all the women have come out. We get some longer introductions, and then we kind of speed through some of them. Typical Bachelor editing format. So it's the first night. Gary does a little toast and says, I'd like to get to know you all in depth. And then they have the one-on-one dates at a cocktail party. This is that portion of the evening where they all walk around. Again, this is in the night.
Middle of the night.
The middle of the night, so they can get it good and dark for TV. So there are two. Sandra has a bit of a potty mouth. She's really fun. She came in the beautiful red dress. And then Marina in the Surrey. She says that my grandchildren should say that you're dope. And they use Riz and they just laugh a lot. Like, I just think it's a fun group. It's they're hip to the. I just learned what Riz was like a month ago, so they're cooler than I am.
I was literally screaming with laughter because there was a contestant named April who made Gary a calendar in which every month was April, which is chaotic. But just how many boomers do we know that saw the Facebook ad of like, take your pictures from one of your albums and we'll make it into a calendar for you. And then they purchase this cheap calendar to distribute to people or just to have in their house. And they're all just like those weird like, I think one of them was like April and there was like a horses in the background. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this is the absolute like most, it just felt so on brand. I was like, I am watching older people date right now. And yep. Yep.
April gives me the impression she still goes to like Flywheel and Pilates, and she's just like, she keeps it tight and is putting the younger girls to shame though.
She's a little kooky. I'll say that.
A little spiritual too. But yeah. Oh, my birthday girl, Teresa. It is her actual birthday, right? So she's in her birthday suit. She brings him a cupcake. And then they do sexy icing bits, like, oh, you have icing here. And I was like, she knows what's up. A way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
That was also like just so sweet because he was like, if I eat it and I get icing on my face, will you lick it off? And she's like, yes. Like she was like so excited. Obviously, Gary went through the true hot girl experience and had Faith, the woman who rode up on a motorcycle, play guitar at him with one of her original songs. So, pour one out for Gary because a lot of ladies know just how awkward that is to be cornered into someone's apartment, a man's apartment, and have guitar played at them. But I guess, I don't know, he vibed with it because he ended up giving Faith the first impression rose.
Now, the way The Bachelor and Bachelorette continues is at the end of the week, let's say that it starts with 30 contestants, you eliminate by over time and you're given roses. Roses means you get to stay for the next week. Now, the first impression rose is like, hey, this one knocked me off of stocks. Like, this is the standout for the night. So the first impression rose has a pretty interesting history. So it's not as much with The Bachelor, but with The Bachelorette. Out of the 19 seasons, 8 first impression roses have gone on to become the fiance or winner of the game. So
interesting.
Yeah. The first impression rose was actually introduced in season 5 with Jesse Palmer, the now host, was The Bachelor. They skipped season 6 and then it's happened every season 7 on. Yeah. So, one contestant though kind of did a funny little do where he gave out 12 first impression roses.
Ugh.
So that's the only one of the Bachelor where one of the the girl won because he gave out 12 to shake it up. But
he really what's crazy about that is that it seems like they narrow it down after that first rose ceremony to 15. So it starts with 30 and then you narrow it down to 15. So like imagine being the other 3 girls who get that final rose after 12 first, whatever. We simply can't talk about it because we have to focus on the Golden Bachelor. And we're about to get to episode 2, but I just have to say, as enjoyable as these people are, there was, I did have to quell a bit of my fury a few times as I watched while these people made comments about nobody has fun like we have fun, and they all danced around with champagne. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, Joan. How could we? Your generation obliterated the U.S. economy and the planet. How could we possibly have fun?
Their parents won World War II.
I just...
Oh, yeah.
We can't talk about it. There is a woman named Kathy who I am obsessed with, though. I think she is all of us. She is the moment. I don't think she's doing well.
No.
She's still around. Like, spoiler alert to the end of the second episode, she's still making it. But I don't think Gary or anyone enjoys her company, but I enjoy her.
She's the kind of person. Say that again. I enjoy her a lot. Sorry.
I enjoy her a lot.
She's the kind of person in the office where it's like she doesn't like anybody, but if you can get her to like you, whoa, you're in a good spot. She's really kind of a take no shit kind of person. I hope they don't play her for laughs too much or make her the villain, but she's kind of a negative Nancy.
I just live for her. Okay, so anyways, let's move on to episode 2 because I know this dumpster fire has gone on for a long time. Just relax, okay? We're having fun.
The rose ceremony happens at dawn. The sun is up. I'm like, let these people go to sleep.
Oh my God, these women need to go to... You know what? I had another... I'll make one last joke about the larger group. Because I just like, you have to think about the boomers in your life when you think about this. And like, I feel like that my mom would thrive on this show.
Yeah. You're great.
But like, I'm just like, imagine if they gave all of these women Apple Watches. They would all just be like screaming their text messages out loud to each other. Because imagine if they all had their phones. These ringers would be so loud.
Yep.
Like if everyone got a phone call at the same, oh my God, it would just be incessant. Anyways, we're on episode 2, and I do have to ask,
yes,
Erica,
yes,
this mansion,
yes,
is it always this tacky, or did they do this to match the tastes of older women? Because
no,
walls are painted so colorful, and I'm honestly shocked that the kitchen is not like chili pepper themed.
So The Bachelor premiered in 2002, and this home has not had a decor update since. The mansion is always the mansion. It's always this hideous.
The kitchen gives Tuscan opulence.
Yeah.
I mean, but like they loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They loved it. They were like, look, this room's pink.
This room's green, and this
I'm like, they look like waiting rooms at doctor's offices. If they fucking loved it.
Yeah. They're all just so excited. Like it's really sweet. But I'm like, give them some goddamn rest. So the contestants move into the mansion every season, except for the COVID seasons. We'll get into that. That's a whole other thing. But
we don't ever have to get into it. COVID's over. A hoax. Come on, we're talking about the Golden Bachelor, girl.
Yeah, they all believe COVID's a hoax, so it's okay.
It's a hoax. So,
but the mansion only has so many rooms,
and
that means a lot of these rooms at the beginning are bunk beds, and so the women all have to have conversation about who needs to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and one lady's just like, "I refuse," and the other one's like, "I'll piss myself if I don't."
It was amazing.
Sandra's like, I've got bad knees. I've had a knee replacement. I can't climb up there. And so it's like just great to watch them be like, not taking the top.
I mean, these are not models and Instagram influencers. Like, these are just genuinely like women who are like, no, I'm not doing that. Okay, so the ladies all are gathered around and they gasp in fear at the sight of an envelope that Jesse brings in, as if it contains secret plans for a BLM protest in their neighborhood. But it actually lets the ladies know and the world that sweet little Teresa, Erica's favorite, is going on the very first one-on-one dates. What kind of typical dates do these one-on-ones consist of?
So they increase in intimacy throughout the series typically, but some of the more, there's a private concert with a musician you'll never hear from again after a dinner date. And then they walk you over to, well, I've got the Zach Hyman band over here to play for us. And the girl has to act, or the contestant has to act like, oh, it's my favorite band. Again,
this band?
Yeah. This person with a guitar.
Yeah.
There's always a photography date. So they get either a one-on-one or a group session with some type of theme. There's the wedding dress date where they shop for wedding dresses. There's also the shopping spree dress date where they take them out and they just try on a bunch of sexy little outfits for them and dresses. And it's like expensive stuff. There's a hot tub date. There's sometimes like an athletic or public performance date. Like we're going to play flag football in front of these real NFL players and they're going to teach us how to play things. There's conquer your fear. So we're going to jump out of an airplane or scale down a building. There's
really typical date stuff.
Yeah. You know the way you and Taylor, I'm sure, did jumping out of an airplane for your fourth date.
Yeah. Well, they definitely on the Golden Bachelor go straight to the extreme conquering fear dates because they put two old people in a car and made them drive at night from Calabasas to a fake diner set in Sun Valley.
Without headlights!
They said the headlights weren't working. At what point did the production say, first of all, at what point did they let them off the lot of the mansion with the headlights not working? And when he got on the freeway with the headlights not working, why didn't they go, hey, we're going to need to get him off because this is crazy dangerous. They're in a convertible,
like a vintage car, and again the headlights are flickering and going off the whole time. And Gary's like, I've never driven in California before. I'm not from here. I've never been on a California highway, and now the goddamn headlights aren't working.
And this is for sure again in the middle of the night.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So he's on the 5 with like long haul truckers with no headlights.
What I assume is that there was producers as a lead and a back. So like I assume he was somewhat sandwiched between production cars. I hope. But yeah, no headlights. But I don't want to say the producers did this on purpose, right? She's getting her hair all windblown, which is, sexy. After Susan curled her hair for her because they're friends.
Oh my God.
But
yes.
Again, headlights are not working. He's never driven on California highways. He's 70. And she just gently touches his shoulder and says, "You're doing great." And I was like,
that was pretty sweet.
Oh my God, she's going to be top 3. Like,
you think so? You think you're calling it now? Teresa's top 3?
That, when I saw him just like kind of be like, it's going to be okay. Like his shoulders relaxed in a way. And he was just like, yeah, I'm pretty good at picking who's going to be in the long run. So I think so. Yeah.
So they pull up to a place that my location scout husband in the background started to yell, "That's fake."
Pink Hotel, Cadillac Jacks. Yep.
That's fake. That's just a movie set.
Yep. It's in Sun Valley.
I was like, well, I saw the promo. I'm pretty sure there's a flash mob. I don't think this is real. But, whatever gets him engaged, watching.
So she tells the story. She was married for 42 years. They were married at 18, high school sweethearts. She watched him take his last breath. Now, they're getting to know each other over milkshakes and fries, and Gary owned a restaurant, and it's just really sweet. At multiple points in this episode, I walked over to Winston and just continued to hug him and bawled my eyes out. And he was like, "You don't have to do this to yourself." And then at one point I looked at him and I just begged him not to die.
I believe I also said out loud watching the second, girl, a lot of these people are widows and widowers.
Yeah.
But I begged Taylor, I think at one point, like, don't die. Because you watch this and you just like think to yourself or to your partner, like, I hope they don't die. But honestly, Teresa, you broke first date rule number 1. You don't talk about exes.
I feel like, is it an ex if they pass on? It's not like she was like, we're breaking up. Oh,
I don't know.
Again, bawling my eyes out. And Winston's like, "Babe, I don't know if you can handle this." Anyway, I love him so much. I want to hold that man's hand till forever. But
so they start talking about learning Italian and visiting Italy. And so I decided to take it upon myself to learn some helpful phrases for them.
Yeah, please.
Perché il mio telefono fa questa cosa? Which means, why is my phone doing this thing? I think that would be helpful for them. I have another one.
Okay.
Posso parlare con il tuo manager? Which, of course, means, can I speak to your manager? Because, the customer's always right. And then I think this one will really do them good.
Mm-hmm.
I tassi di interesse erano più alti quando ho comprato una casa. Which translates to, the interest rates were higher when I bought a house.
Very helpful phrases.
What do boomers say?
Oh,
but
man.
Then we got a flash mob.
Journey starts. The cues of Don't Stop Believing start silent, like lowly playing.
Yeah.
And then I thought about, did Journey think that their kids would be rich forever because of this song?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's just a montage song. It's it's Glee. It's all of these things. And a flash mob breaks out, very La La Land. The waiters, the patrons, surprise, they're all dancers and actors. My favorite moment, though, was a dead-eyed waiter look down the barrel of the camera like, I have a BFA from Yale.
I'm doing non-union.
Dancing for the Golden Bachelor.
It was definitely, it ended in like La La Land. Where are they now?
Yeah. She gets that rose though.
So she did. She bags herself the very first rose.
Woo. So, all right, on to the group date. So there's typically one-on-ones and group dates. So yeah, and then there's also a 2-on-1 date in the Bachelor world where two women or two contestants enter, one contestant leaves.
Ooh, but we haven't gotten to those yet.
No,
that's
those
very intense.
So the first group date, they get the cards. Not everyone's invited, but they are going to do one of my favorite dates, which is a photography date. And Franco is the staple Bachelor Nation photographer. He's a very flamboyant. Who were the gentlemen with the tigers in Vegas?
Siegfried and Roy.
Think Siegfried and Roy's costume designer as a photographer.
Yes.
Yeah. So they have a bunch of costumes. They're going to do romance cover novels. So
yes, romance novel covers.
So there's 4 different types of groups. There's like kind of motorcycle rockers, 70s, beach / mermaid, ocean themed, and brides. And let me just say, Franco's a very good photographer, but the photos turned out like dog shit. There's shadows everywhere. It's not about the photography.
Babe?
It's about the journey.
Babe, I can't believe that you took note of that because I thought it was just me.
No.
Because I haven't seen any before. So I'm like, maybe they're always like this. But like the shadows, like what were they? He could have been taking them on an iPhone. Like that's how not seriously I felt like they were taking this.
Again,
I couldn't believe it.
It's not about the photos. It's about so interesting enough because one of the contestants, Leslie, she's very upset because she didn't get her choice of outfit, but she wanted to be 70s, right? And Natasha grabbed the last 70s costume and she's like, I'm just not an 80s girl.
Leslie, of course, from Prince wrote Sexy Dancer About Me fame.
Yes. But I think there was strategy. She was pouty, like very upset. So they take the photos with Gary, but I think it's smarter because she did the 80s rocker. That's what she was left with. But that was only 2 girls, where the 70s group was 4 people. So she got more one-on-one, like more intimacy time with him if she really, if she was gaming it out right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? The fact that she kept complaining, I think that maybe she's thinking ahead about getting onto Bachelor in Paradise, which Bachelor in Paradise, of course, notoriously takes the most controversial characters from Bachelor, Bachelorette franchises, puts them on an island in Mexico, and has them fuck each other.
It's great. I actually met the old bartender, Jorge, a couple summers ago in Sayulita. He's wonderful. But yeah. So yeah, they're taking these, and one lady's just not quite being herself, Nancy. So she's in a wedding dress, and she's just kind of getting emotional, and she's like, I haven't had one of these on since I got married to my husband, Mark, 46 years ago.
We got another widow.
So, she's upset, and then, she pulls it together, gets the the dog shit photos taken. Franco, I love you, but come on.
It's the horrible photos, but sweet Gary notices that something's wrong and pulls her aside, and he thinks maybe this is me. Yeah, and he literally says, like, is there a disconnect between us? Like, I feel you pulling away.
Yeah, like, very sensitive man. I can't
believe it.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that conversation, like, bagged her the rose on the group date.
Mm-hmm. I did like Leslie. She took the time when they had their one-on-one during the photography group date to show him that she also has hearing aids.
Okay, so there was someone in the first episode who showed him their hearing aid as well. I had a question. On the normal Bachelor and Bachelorettes, is there always there's normally something where it's like, oh, look, I have this too? Like Leslie being like, I have hearing aids is like the same thing as like one of the contestants being like, oh, I also have a corgi? Or is this like Golden Bachelor exclusive that like just a lot of these people happen to have hearing aids?
Yeah, so there was one contestant, I absolutely love her. She had a cochlear implant. That's only one of those I can think of from the other Bachelor Nation, previous Bachelor Nation, I should say. I do think this was like, hey, we have this. And also Leslie did a really smart move, I think, because she pulled him aside and did like, was this on this date or was it the next date at the cocktail
No, it was
party?
the one where the whispering?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on this date. She says, by the way, if you ever need to whisper something in sweet nothings in my ear, I'll be able to hear it. And shows off her hearing aids. And then he whispers something in her ear, which God knows what it was. But me and Taylor were having a fun time guessing. It got crude, so I'm not going to repeat it. But
once it's behind it, yeah, we will maybe in the future. But yeah, it was like, and we don't know. They were like, that's just for us to know. It's a little secret. So after Nancy was, forced to spend the day in a wedding dress, that made her sad. She was given the group date rose. So she gets to carry on to fight another day.
So the next day after the group date, we see all of the women gathered in the backyard to throw Gary a surprise birthday barbecue because now it's Gary's birthday. I think he's turning 71. And wouldn't you know it, 6-inch heel Susan is popping out of the birthday cake. So maybe another candidate for Bachelor in Paradise. I really don't know.
I loved it. I like Faith's like, I'm not like other girls moment. So she won the first impression rose from the first episode. She didn't get to go on the group date or the one-on-one, which again, that happens. And so she kind of, when she's having her one-on-one time with him, she, pulls him aside basically and is like, oh, I don't know. I just wear like, shorts and flip-flops and I swim in horse troughs and I drink water from the hose and, I'm not like other girls, like very like Facebook meme, like back in my day.
She came in hot.
She came in hot
with pick me energy.
You very pick me.
I'm feeling so insecure because these women are fancy and I'm just a dirty little pig.
Gary does it a moment though that I absolutely loved, which he gives Ellen a framed photo of them from the day before. And then she says this line, which was another cry break for me, and I had to go hug Winston. She says, I feel so special, and I haven't felt that way in a very long time. No one's made me feel special in a long time. Bawling my eyes out.
Okay, so I made some notes about Ellen because if the show Unreal taught me anything, it's that the producers are assigned contestants and they have to produce them to try to, make the show and keep them on the show, make TV. And my God, I think Ellen's producer needs to maybe call their mom and hash some shit out because I found that gift of them giving Gary a printed out photo of him and Ellen to then give to Ellen to be like emotional warfare.
Really?
I can't okay, first of all, Ellen's profession is pickleball co-captain.
Perfect. No notes.
But like, I couldn't believe that. I was like,
Yeah.
we haven't even seen much of Ellen this whole
Yeah.
show. And so Ellen's producer was like, again, you're going to fuck this woman's life up. Like, call your mom. Why would you think to do that to this woman?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I liked Joan's date. So she has a top bunk. Joan is the youngest contestant. She's 60.
Joan's hot.
Joan looks like she could be on Bachelor or Bachelor in Paradise. Joan is keeping it tight. She's very attractive.
Joan looks good. Joan looks real good. I feel guilty for saying this, but I did have the thought of like, I want to see the original footage of watching Gary and Joan have to get on and off of that top bunk.
I was like, Joan, we know you can climb it, but like, can Gary? Did you ask?
I mean, even like not normal age, even like younger, like 20, 30-year-old contestants, like I would be curious to watch that. Bunk beds are for kids.
Yeah. 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 Many people might be thinking at this time, like, hey, where is Marina? Like, she made such a good impression on the first episode. So come to find out, just to let everyone know, she had to leave before episode 2 began for personal reasons. She had a family emergency. She said, I'm a single mom. I have to choose my family. I'm really sad to leave. So they didn't address it on the show at all. However, on the Bachelor's official Instagram, they did show Jesse giving Gary the phone so Marina and Gary could FaceTime and she could explain, like, I'm so sorry I had to leave. So very sad to lose her.
Yeah. I mean, she will be missed, but at least it's not like serious.
Yeah. 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 Well, who knows? But yeah.
So we get to the rose ceremony. There's a lot of obvious things. It gets real tight for like trash icon Kathy. But she is chosen, I think, last or second to last.
I have the order somewhere. Yeah.
But we do the same episode that we meet costume stealing Natasha is the same episode that we lose her because she doesn't get chosen. But you know what? She had the best like last word.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the episode, she's walking out of the house, and normally it's when they walk out of the house, they go, I feel really inspired to find love, even though it wasn't. So like whatever, like they say like really inspirational things.
Mm-hmm.
And Natasha walks out and goes, why don't you guys have seated rose ceremonies? All of these contestants are over 60 years old, and you guys don't have chairs. They have seated yoga. They have seated, like, starts naming everything that they usually provide seats for.
Yes.
But so you can't put seats for the rose ceremony.
For
and
60
it was
70-year-old people. You can't let us sit down.
Iconic. It was so fucking funny. And honestly, if they have seats going forward, I will respect these producers more, because I bet that they had the thought of like, should we give them chairs? No, that's mean. Like they need to be able to, like they could probably stand. But if she's coming out and saying like, I wonder if they go to all the women and go, hey, do you guys want chairs? Like, and then it's like, you don't look mean. You don't look like you're discriminating against old people for giving them chairs. Like that woman came off and called you out. It was so good.
I assume it's one of those things where they offer like, oh, would you guys like to sit down? But nobody wants to be the first one. If somebody said yes, everyone would be like, absolutely yes. But no one wants to be the first one to speak or request it, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So who we have left at the end of the night? First rose. So we have our group date winner, our one-on-one, and then we have Leslie, Joan, Edith, Ellen, Sandra, Susan, Christina, Faith, April, and Kathy was chosen last. She is a little ack. Kathy is
major.
A little ack. Jeannie, Natasha, and Peggy are no longer with us as a contestant. And, Peggy didn't get any. They didn't show her goodbye message to Gary or hugging the other women. She didn't get a post-credit like, oh, I'm excited to find for love. She didn't have a one-on-one moment with the group. And I'm like, what is going on with Peggy? What happened?
And
I don't know. I've got questions. Is Peggy okay? But she was given nothing. Like,
yeah, I saw her in the end of that elimination ceremony. I was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah. They gave her nothing that time. Anyway.
Well, okay, so this was fun. We got to cover these last 2 episodes of The Golden Bachelor, and I don't know. I mean, I've got to be honest, like I can't resist a cultural event. That's why I'm rewatching. That's why I'm back in Bachelor Nation. And I don't know. What do you think, Erica?
I've wanted this for a very long time. But I didn't want to be the one to ask. Just like nobody wanted to ask for chairs.
Well, I've got good news for listeners who are either already residents of Bachelor Nation or are curious about maybe getting some work visas to stay temporarily in Bachelor Nation.
Mm-hmm. We have a great digital nomad program for the visas. But y'all, we will be recapping every episode of The Golden Bachelor in a very special episodes of Trashy Trashy available on our brand new Patreon.
Woohoo! Wait, we have a Patreon?
We do now. And it won't just be for Bachelor recaps. There'll be more bonus content coming. We'll do special episodes, documentaries, have on guests, do all sorts of stuff. There'll be merch discounts, nicknames. It's going to be some pretty good perks. So
yeah. So for $1.99 a month, you're going to have unlimited access to all the Trashy Trashy bonus content, like our Golden Bachelor recaps. We're going to do them once a week, and it'll be like, you know, it'll be timely. It's not going to be a double thing again. And whatever. It doesn't matter. I need to explain this to you. Erica, I don't know about you, but like our Patreon is what I'm hoarding. Because there's going to be extra levels with it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for $200,000, we're going to only do private podcasts for you daily.
Yeah, absolutely. Like no more public podcasts if you signed up at the $200,000 level. So
you own us.
Yeah, legally.
But there'll be a little bit more in between the $199 and $200,000. You know, you're getting in the inception of our Patreon. Okay, it's Golden Bachelor time.
That's what I'm hoarding is our Patreon. So,
do you want to know what I'm throwing away?
Of course.
Not subscribing to our Patreon.
It's the same thing
exciting.
Away.
I must be looking at your notes.
I'm a very advanced hacker. That was typer sounds. I'm sorry. I'm loopy. Well, Cass, where can the people find you?
You can find me starring in the 2007 Trick or Treat movie. It's a horror movie with Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, and Quinn Lord. Oh, wait. That's Quinn Lord. That's not me. Where can the people find you?
Find me at Iconic Erica Curry on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Spill, TikTok. That's where you'll find me. You can also find this podcast at Trashy Trashy Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Spill, Blue Sky. You can find our website, trashytrashypodcast.com. We will soon be releasing information about the Patreon, how to sign up. Our merch store is trashytrashypodcast.threadless.com, where, again, if you sign up at a certain tier, there'll be discounts for merch. You can always send in stories to us at trashytrashypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know why you're trash. Let us know what you'd like to see us cover in the future. We absolutely love it every time. Use code Trashy for all discounts. Hey, Cass.
What's going on, girl?
Golden.
You stay golden, you trash bitch. I'm sorry. You went off script. You can't blame me for that.
Bye-bye.
Bye.